many things that I want to go over today. Many things I want to go over today. One of which is going to be that obviously we're going to talk about the deep roads, we're going to talk about Illithid, and I want to reintroduce the Ravens roleplay, the Raptors roleplay, because as I was working on that, when I brought it out the end of last year, then suddenly I had to go into surgery for cancer, and it kind of threw everything off, right? it threw a monkey wrench into the works. So I'm going to bring that one back out, and this is good because we have a lot of new players also, so it'll allow you the opportunity to engage. The Raptors roleplay, for those of you that do not know, I introduced a new race at the end of last year. They're lizard folk, but they are warm-blooded. Unlike your most lizard folk, which are cold-blooded. Which effectually makes them more like dinosaur people, I suppose. More like velociraptors. That's why I called them raptors. Okay? And the idea is that they are on a pocket dimension that the Webrunner runs into. Whether they crash or land or whatever it happens to be, I'm going to leave entirely up to your creativity. And for those of you that do not know what the Webrunner is, the Webrunner is a boat that travels between dimensions. It travels the it's a planar event. Let me see what's the best way to put it. Basically sails upon the astral plane like a regular boat sails upon the ocean. If you look behind me up a little bit, you're going to see two small skiffs. Okay? Those are basically the same, except, those are one person, maybe two people. The Webrunner is an 8-person boat that is charged with traveling the astral plane, and particularly because of the elephant. You're going to see an example of the raptors to my right here. It's a shamanistic race of warm-blooded lizard folk. Did we lose sound? I think that okay. Alright, good. I think SL's having some issues today because my green dot keeps coming and going, and so not sure. Anyway, so you have the raptor folk that are on this little pocket dimension area that the Webrunner runs into. There's not the only one, but you know, it's significant because it is a new race that I introduced last year for the GA. And Sarah's saying she can't hear me, so hopefully the words get to her as well. And I had last year I charged the GA with setting up scenarios. You guys can get together in whatever groups you like, you know, however you want to do it, and write up and do a little play, as they say, as to what happens there. You know, like here's an example. You know, I applaud ingenuity and creativity, so I want you to come up with your own stuff. But here's one example. Let's say the Webrunner is on, they're traveling the astral plane, and they are hunting Illithid, okay? And then they have some issue with their boat. They decide that they need to stop and get supplies, okay? Need to get food or something, whatever. So they pick one of the pocket dimensions that they're traveling through and stop, and then they encounter this race of raptor folk. And and then they work on it from there. They're basically the information that I will give you about them, and then you expand beyond there, is that it's basically an Aztec, Incan, Mayan society. It's a Mesoamerican society, and they are, you know, warm-blooded lizards. I have not detailed the rest of the plane that they're on. I had thoughts, but I would like, you know, it's up to you to work on. There would be other enemies, there would be other villains, there would be creatures possibly. Other creatures, mounts maybe. All kinds of possibilities that you can explore, okay? And so what I would do is I would encourage you to break up into, yeah, T-Rex. Yes, totally. This is an excellent place where if you can use all your dinosaur knowledge for people who like dinosaurs to explore that, okay? Because this group, this is in another plane, okay? Some of them are gonna come back here, okay? So they'll have to figure out how you're going to make that happen too, what you want to do, so that we can add, because like I said, it's a new race, add it to the GA. But this is their introduction storyline, okay? So I would encourage you to get in groups, you know, whoever you're comfortable with, you know, maybe, I'm going to pick on Briarhaven for a moment. Is anyone Briarhaven here? Let's say that, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Let's say that you're comfortable with your constituency. So yes. So the 10 of you get together and you write up a storyline and write up the role play and act it out. Take some pictures, and that will be your version. Now, I'm going to look at all the different ones that come up, okay? And I'm going to give out prizes, okay? Obviously, number one is not only they are going to be the one that it becomes the introduction storyline. for the Raptors. Okay? And the others can be rumors and theories. But the important part, okay, first, the winner, quote unquote, their version is going to be what introduces Raptors to the GA, and I will be giving out prizes for the top three storylines. Okay, and every member of that troop, and I use that because it's basically your acting. Every member of that troop will get something cool. All right, and I have been asked if a spelljammer could be the gift to the first group, and I'm actually not opposed to that. The spelljammer is what the Webrunner is. That's what those little boats up there floating behind me. Those are spelljammers. A spelljammer is a boat that is run by magic that travels the ethereal and astral planes. Okay? Like I said, the Webrunner, there's a Skype group that's running it, has been doing Spelljammer Webrunner roleplay for a couple of years now. The captain of that boat is Magister Apprentice of All. So, if you want to involve the crew of the Webrunner in your play, I would talk to one of the members of that boat. I know that Minnie crashed for this entire thing, and all of that stuff would have been very important information to get for her. So, somebody, please relay the information to her. Okay, now, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Okay, and as you saw a few minutes ago, you saw an example of the Raptor people. He was over to my right. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. And if you have any questions about that, go ahead and ask. Okay, crew of the Webrunner. To my knowledge, okay, I know that the crew sometimes alters, but the captain of the Webrunner is Master Apprentice of All, and you have Acacia Rose, Juniper Roxley, Emerald Witchy, off the top of my head. Oh, well, Emerald is currently not even in SL. Okay. I still talk to her sometimes, and she wants to be in the Webrunner roleplay, but she's having some serious hardcore computer problems. So I still include her because in her brain she's part of the crew. But maybe when she gets her computer fixed, then she'll be back. But right now it's Nifredel, Acacia, and Juniper. And there's a lot of good potential, a lot of potential for that role play. It's not very often that a new race is introduced into the world, and so I decided to introduce that. Now, admittedly, over the 13 years that we've been doing this, I have introduced two races. One of those is the Raptors, and the other one is Metallici. Metallici are intelligent golems. Okay? Metal people that are obviously magical run. They have a crystal in their chest that is full of a soul. The Webrunner can hold 8 people, so you can have up to that as many people in as far as regular crew. And if you want to rotate members so that you can add more people, that's all good too. All right. You know that as long as the officers don't change, because you're going to need, no matter what, you're going to need your captain to not change. At least it doesn't make for a very good role play if your captain changes very often, maybe even at all. And but I'll leave all that up to you. I don't want to dictate how things run. Okay, but long story short, yes, it's an 8-person GIF, so you can add more than just you 3, and you can add people that can come and go. They want to go. They go on a single excursion with you. Like they, maybe stop at the Raptors, and meet them and all that jazz. And that's the only time they're on the boat. Hey, that's okay. I'm gonna leave all that in your hands. I don't want to dictate your role plays. I set things up and then let you roll with it. Okay. So, the other race that I introduced were the Metallica. Some of you know who they are. Most of you know who they are. They were a race that was created by the mind slaves of the Illithid. Those mind slaves were the deep dwarves and the deep gnomes. Drugar and Svirtanen. They put their technology together and came up with a new race that were the stormtroopers, or the Illithid, and effectively it's why in the second Spider Squid Wars most Dark Elves were eliminated. That's why Dark Elves are an endangered species. It's because of the Illithid and their Metallica. Ultimately, they were defeated, and one group of the Metallica were separated from all the rest, trapped on another pocket dimension plane. So it's not impossible for some Metallica to be good, but they were born and bred to be stormtroopers. They were created and raised to be killers. So they don't know anything else but by their very inception, except how to kill, and they're very good at it. Okay, those are two basic things I want to throw out. Another very important thing before I get to the deep roads, and I apologize because I know some of you, that's the reason you're here. But a few years ago, on Gary Gygax's anniversary, I had commissioned, I had spoken to someone to make a sword in his memory. For those of you that don't know, he was my dungeon master. He is the reason that I got into Dungeons and Dragons, and that I helped create Dark Elves. You know, Dark Elves are my what's the best way to put it? Contribution? Yes, to Dungeons and Dragons. And there's lots and lots and lots there. But anyway, long story. He was my friend, and that's how I got into Dungeons and Dragons in the first place. Before it was even Dungeons and Dragons, it was just a bunch of pieces of paper with paper clips, handwritten everything. You know, we were using six-sided dice. We didn't have dice yet. And all of that changed over time and got better and better and better. But about a decade ago, he passed, and thereabouts. And so a few years ago, on the anniversary of that passing, I asked someone to build the Gygaxian as a memory for it, in memory. And all the people that were at the row that day will get the Gygaxian, because Trinity Air and her builder, Syrah, I don't know the last name, have brought to life that weapon, and it is called the Gygaxian. Syrah and more. Trinity, Jill Air, can you step forward? Do you have that sword on you? Step forward and show everyone what that blade is. Some people are the ones that were at that class a few years ago are going to get that sword automatically. But I'm also going to set up a quest. I'm announcing it to you today. I'm setting up a quest so that everyone else who wants that sword is going to have the opportunity to get it. Okay? And even if you're not a swordsman, you know, if you just want it as a trophy in your office or your house or whatever, or if you have some favorable memories of Gary Gygax and Dungeons and Dragons, it would also be a good, what's the word, nostalgia piece. Okay, so do you see it in her hand over there? I had it. I threw out all kinds of ideas because I knew him. I'm sure there's lots of people who knew him better than I did because I was just a player. But it's not like he didn't pick my brain and I didn't pick his. So I have some degree of knowledge on what he would have wanted. And let me see. I think I have it on me. opened up, I do have a copy and an unscripted copy so that it can just set. Oh, well, she's doing it. Okay, never mind. That's good. That's one less thing. Okay, so she's showing you what the sword looks like. It does look really good. It is a black bladed rapier, and with flames and a dragon. So I'm going to be setting up a quest for those of you that were not at that initial event a few years ago. I'm sorry for those that it took a couple of years for this finally to happen, but you know what? It finally did, and Jill Air and Jill and Moore made it a reality, and that is an excellent thing. So before I continue, were there any questions on any of the things that I have discussed so far? I know I hit three very huge things, you know. And this was not Warwick, a Warwick thing. It is done using his system, okay, so that the eyes can glow. But it was made by Sierra and Moore, and yes, it will still work with Spellfire. So, but ultimately, in the long run, the blade will still work in Maxim as well. Okay, so it is a what's the word? Crossover blade, and let's see. I think I have the list. If anybody that was originally here. For that. Now, a couple of years ago, like I said, I did put out that this was going to be made. It just never happened. And now it is in existence. So let me see. Keisha, are you here? Thought I saw her. Yes, she's here. Okay. So Acacia gets that blade. Nifredel, Malachite, Trinity. I'm trying to compare the list with the people that are in the room. Oh, Melada gets it. I think I know she's not in the room right now, but I think that, haha, Margaret and Atal Maru were both in the room that day. And Jill and Moore, I greatly appreciate the work that you put into this blade, and I'm sure that Gary would be proud that he has a sword named after him. um, and he liked dragons, in case anyone did not know that. Particularly the red dragon, that was his favorite dragon. And so it is good to see that this has made it into reality. And this list, I'm going to talk to Trinity and make sure that everybody on this list still gets their weapon as long as they still exist. Like, you know, Kaminari, who's not in the room right now, and I believe his female counterpart is. So pass the word to him, because he was at the class that day. You know? So all the people that are already on this list will get it. That includes Ivy, and we have to make sure that she gets that too. And but now, for all of you that weren't here that day, okay, and little air, you have this list, so feel free to make sure that they get those blades. I believe that they are, and I know that they will be in the professions hall. You know, probably, you know, not accessible because I don't want everybody and their brother or sister to walk up in there and grab it. But the people who have completed the quest will be able to report to our Goblin Cables using Goblin and get the blade from her. Okay. All right, now, so would you like me to I've introduced that there is a quest. Would you like me to tell you how this quest works? Or would you just rather wait for for me to drop out the quest or the rest of the GA? Because I'm going to release it. It's going to be a short-term event, you know. But you guys go have a jump start if you wish. But I'm going to let you make that call. How many of you would want me to release that quest right now? I don't see any hands. I don't see any eyes or anything else. Okay. So, Gillette Moore raises her hand. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. I see some hands coming up. Okay, there we go. All right. So, I will go ahead and let you know what the quest is going to be. I still need to reach out to all these people, so don't run over right now because they won't know what I'm talking about. But first thing, okay, this is how the quest is going to run. That you're going to go to series of individuals, okay, and each one of those people is going to give you a quest. They're going to, because they're going to need something. Okay? What it is, hey, I don't know. But each one of them is going to need something. You go to them, do whatever it is that they need you to do, and then you go to the next guy. It's going to be the your particular type of guild lead for each of the realms in the GA. So let's say you're a wizard, all right? So you're going to go to the Silvara Wizard Guild. You're going to and talk to the lead there, and he's going to give you a quest. And then you're going to do that, and then you're going to go over to the one in Rue, and then you're going to go over to the one in Lundy, then you're going to go over to the one in Briarhaven, and then Greenhaven, and then after you've done them all, okay, you do each of the side quests. Then you come back, and then you meet with the little tiny green lady that rests people with jumper cables, and then she will give you the sword. Okay? Sound good? Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so for all you guild leads out there in the room right now, you already know what that you're gonna start having people run to you. Okay? So prep yourself a little quest. You know. And for you realm leaders, let your guild leads know. Say, hey, you're gonna start having people come to you because the Gygaxian has been released. Okay? And for people who are into Dungeons and Dragons, it's definitely a must-have, as they say. And for people who actually knew Gary, it's a must-have. And, for people who enjoy D&D, but they never really got into it, or, before their time or whatever, I don't know. It's still super cool, right? And on top of all that, it's neat looking. So, I know that in this room right now, I have many guild leads. I see Alaric. I see Malikith, Maeve, Keisha. It's only $1, so if you can't afford $1, I apologize. That's one SL. That's like one L. That's nothing. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't finished making the list, but I'm going down the list. There's a lot of guild leads in this room. So if you are a guild lead, remember, you know that you're gonna have to come up with a little quest, because everybody who's interested in it, if they are in your class, no matter what realm they're from, they're going to be coming to you. Because let's say you're a druid, all right? Well, druid, you're going to be hitting. You're definitely going to be talking to Malachite. You're definitely going to be talking to Sable, and off the top of my head, I don't know every single guild lead's name, so I apologize. Okay, because like I have spoken with all the ones in Briarhaven. I've spoken with all the ones in all the realms, but I have not. Does not mean I retain everybody's names. So I deeply apologize. Do not take offense that if I don't know your name anymore. Well, That's perfectly fine. You're still Dragon Regent, so you're golden. You know, holding, and you're also a Master Apprentice, so those are pretty heavy hats anyway. But anyway, so but you were in the you were at that event, so you automatically have the sword. But if you want to do the quests, that's fine. It's up to you. But for all of you that are guild leads, start setting up a quest because people are going to be coming at you. For all of you that are realm leads, tell your guild leads, hey, you know, people are going to be coming at you. And I really hope that people are doing it. You know, the blade is worth it, and an homage to Gary is significant, and Dillo and Moore made an excellent blade, and Trinity was hit the ground and said, hey, you know what, you know, I would like this to happen, and so she started working on it. Okay, thank you for bringing it up. Guild leads that want the blade, thank you for bringing it up. I meant to. You still, that means you go to the other guild leads and do their quests. You don't have to do your own quest. So you, I mean, you can if you want, but you know, hey, not only are you setting up a quest for other people, but you're going to the other realms. Like, let's say you are Briarhaven's mage lead. Okay, well, you don't have to do the Briarhaven quest, but you do have to go to Silvara. You do have to go to London. Okay, and you do have to do everybody else's quests. You just don't have to do your own. You can. I'm not gonna saying you can't, but you don't have to. Okay. And just so people that didn't know, Jalil Imor was one of the co-founders of Unity, and it was her. The name was her idea. Now, I'm gonna have to say something about naming because I mentioned that. Like example, like Gary was the one who decided to call Dark Elves Drow. All right, I wanted him called Dark Elfar because that means Dark Elf in ancient Teutonic, but he liked the word Drow because it was based on Dro, which is a troll, which was one of the. But he liked the word, and the word Dro, and then he's like, well, if we change it to Drow, can we? I like that, and so guess what? So um, that was why the initial Dark Elves, the bad guys, were called Drow. Okay, and thank you. That is my contribution to it. It was all my research and all that jazz. But when I threw it all at him and we went through it together, he was the one who named him Drow. But that was only for the spider cult, which was only supposed to be. It was only supposed to be part of the race. It was supposed to be a cult that worshipped spiders. And, you know, then Ari got hold of it and it became like the base for the whole race. But hey, you know, what are you going to do, right? I still like spiders. It's all good. Okay, so I am being told that I received a copy of this from somebody else years ago, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm looking to see. Uh, uh, anyway, okay. So back where we are. So now we've got. I talked about the quest for the Gygaxian. I have now talked about uh, Metallica. I've talked about the Raptors. Okay. Now, all of that. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the deep roads. Are there any questions up till now? Any questions about anything that I've talked about so far? Okay. All right. Cool, cool. All right. Deep roads. So, as you heard me talk about a few minutes ago, the Spider Squid Wars destroyed uh, the Underdark, the Old Kingdom. 90% of the race of Dark Elven race was annihilated. In an attempted genocide by the Illithid. Because Dark Elves were the first line of defense, they were in between the whole world and the Illithid, who intended on annihilating everything. Not just killing, because that's not how chaos runs. They want to eliminate, annihilate, make into non-existence. Okay? And in so doing, they wiped out most of the Dark Elves. And the most of the cities, most everything in the Underdark. All big cities were destroyed. All the big cities were destroyed. Most of the medium-sized cities were destroyed. You know, and pretty much almost everything was destroyed. But not everything. There were still a few of us left, right? And we began to rebuild. And the dwarves, the Drugar, the Dark Elves, and the Dark Dwarves worked with sometimes on their own, to rebuild. Okay, so some areas of the Underdark became completely dwarven built. Okay, rebuilt, and so a lot of times they use the existing tech plus their own tech to rebuild. And I call that the deep roads. Okay? And that is an homage to Dragon Age. Okay? I took the name from them. because I liked it. It fit where I was going, what I was doing, and so it fit what I was doing. So I borrowed the name. It's not exactly how their Deep Roads is, you know. Ours is significantly different, but the name was so good, it fit, so I borrowed it. For those who, I do give credit where credit's due, and Dragon Age had a great name for their Underdark. Okay. All right. So Deep Roads. That also they are completely overrun by all manner of man and beast, and of course there are scattered dark elven settlements. There are scattered dwarven settlements. A lot of times the roads themselves, the passages between the cities were rebuilt by the dwarves too. So that will be out there. Okay. And so the Illithid are obviously the #1 enemy for Dark Elves, and then their stormtroopers, the Metallici, are significant enemies too, but not by they don't have the same racial bias. If the Dark Elves hate Illithid, okay, and will kill them on sight, they are the #1 enemy of Dark Elves. They dislike Metallici too because Metallici represent danger, and they are threatened by the presence of Metallici, generally speaking. But they do not blame the sword because of the hand that was wielding it. Okay? So Metallici are considered to be a weapon by Dark Elves, not to be confused with the wielder, who were the Illithid. So just keep that in mind as well. The Deep Roads have become home to every beastie that roams in the dark. So if you are wandering the Deep Roads, you will encounter many creatures. You might possibly encounter dark elves and dwarves too, of course. It is possible. You know, but the both and sort of Nebula, but all three of those races were mostly depleted, so we are rare. And you might not encounter you'll encounter more likely you'll encounter a monster than you will a dark elf. Alright, now, with all that being said, the Deep Roads for the GA is a place that you can go for large-scale battles or for dungeon crawls. We do have scheduled dungeon crawls that explore the Deep Roads, where you could possibly find ancient magic weapons, magic items that were left behind, mythical ores, leathers, woods, so that you can craft items out of magical equipment. And those are dungeon crawls. Generally speaking, the dungeon crawls are run by one of the Magister apprentices or one of the Magisters, but I do know that we have a series of dungeon masters, and that is the name I give to whoever is running a dungeon crawl, and then they will have leads. Okay, whoever is running the party, whoever is the leader of the party, will be a lead, and that person will. It is recorded. All I have to do is watch it. Master Apprentice of All is recording the class. Okay, so Dungeon Masters will have leads. The leads gather the group together, the party, and make assignments, and then they go into the deep roads, and they do a dungeon crawl. You will encounter monsters. It depends on if you're doing a meter run or a paradise run. Okay? A meter run, everyone is required to wear meters, and you will encounter monsters. Okay? Metered monsters that you fight, in addition to all the roleplay that you'll be doing. Paradise runs take longer, but it's all about roleplay, and you will roleplay out everything you do, and you'll roll dice for different events. There's dice included in meter runs for like opening doors and in chests and finding secret objects and stuff. But in a paradise run, there's a lot more dice. Okay, and paradise runs take a lot longer. Generally, a meter run takes maybe 3 or 4 hours. Meter run is really long, but they can be split up in parts. A paradise run takes even longer. Okay, because not in a meter run, you come across the beastie, you fight them, bam. Okay, you guys used your meters and your sword to meter until win, lose, whatever. Paradise run could possibly be done in not the same amount of time as a meter run. A meter run you could do maybe in 2 hours. I've seen them last as many as 4, but a paradise run is going to last several days. You're going to have several sessions. If any of you are familiar with old school D&D, where sometimes we would be setting we would set together for 8 hours, and then come back next week, and then the next week after that, before we were done with one dungeon. That's the way a paradise run often is. Not always, because it's up to the dungeon master. I do not step into all the things. I like people to use their brains and take care of business. It is not. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to say something to that in just 1 minute. Hey, Kaminari just appeared. Somebody teleport him up so he can grab his sword. Alright. Anyway. The Deep Roads runs. Deep Roads runs, there are a lot of metal ores that you can get, even orichalcum sometimes, or adamantium, or mithril. And there's, the list, actually, there's like I don't know, 30 different metals that we have in the GA. Most places don't have, but actually I have a wee bit of knowledge about more than zero things. So we have a lot of leathers, we have a lot of woods, metals, and have and those can be made into other things. There are blacksmiths, jewelers, artificers, alchemists, because you're going to encounter things like, you know, white sand. I won't go into details, but there are awesome things out there in deep roads. Okay? Sometimes, and if you don't know what to do with them, you can bring it to the black market. Black market will buy it from you and resell it. On that same note, you can go oftentimes to the black market if they have been doing deep roads runs and they've been getting stuff in. They have stuff that they can sell, or a calcum, adamantium, whatever, And of course, the role play that goes along with all that, blacksmithing, tool crafting, alchemy, etc., etc. All of that is fed by the deep roads, in addition to all the other things you can possibly do. But the deep roads feeds all of that, all of those things that we just discussed. And also, all of our large-scale battles, not all of them, but it's often that our large-scale battles happen in the deep roads too. Now they're probably not down in the dungeons because it's really difficult to run a large-scale battle in a dungeon. We've done it and we do it sometimes, but usually we do it in a cavern space, large cavern space, where people can fly and smack people upside the head and all that jazz. Our large scale battles happen in the deep roads most of the time, not always. If there's an attack on the Savara Plaza, example, by the bad guys, obviously that doesn't take place in the deep roads. But most of our fun battles occur in the deep roads, and a lot of times if we're goofing around or maybe there's some quest goal, we do these large scale events. Professions Guild, thank you for bringing that up. The Professions Guild is really, really interested in the deep roads because, that's where they get all their stuff, right? Okay. Any questions on anything we have talked about so far? All right. Cool, cool. And, all right. Excellent. Excellent. So I talked about the Raptor roleplay that I'm putting back out there on the floor so people can get back to doing that. I talked about the deep roads, talked about the Gygaxian, and I talked about Metallica a little bit. Let's see here. Okay. any other questions about anything that I have discussed or about across the board. Because the things that I wanted to talk about, I have now talked about. I put out the quest, and I have, and since a lot of guild leads and sim leaders are here, you guys, I don't know that I need to call every single guild lead because you guys can take care of that. You can call all your fellow guild leads and say, hey, the game master said that we need to make quests because people are going to come to us so they can get this sword. I'm going to let you guys, let's see how that works. Let's see how word of mouth works. And because I want to give you guys, because you're at class today, I want to give you guys a day head start over everyone else. Okay, because you're here. Tomorrow, I will put out to all the guild leads, and I'll talk what they need to be doing. And I'll put out across the GA the quest for the Gygaxian. But because you guys are here today, you guys get a day's head start. Okay? So I won't reach out to anyone today. I'm going to let you guys do all that. And then tomorrow, I will. So that the rest of the GA can work on. Okay. Any questions whatsoever that you all have? Because I'm going to close this because I have touched everything that I need to, that I could think of that I need to do. But I know that I don't think of every detail that you might want to know. So here's your opportunity. Oh, by the way, Roll a D6, awesome song. If you have not heard it, you need to listen. Rathmius's Assassin Dagger made me think of a pizza and Coke. Made me think of that song. Awesome one. If you haven't heard it, you need to. Okay. Any questions? Okay. All right. In that case, I'm going to go ahead and close this for today. Good luck for all of you that are heading out on the quest trail. And Valados for your attendance today. Good doubts for now.